Welcome to the Message of the Kingdom. My name is David Yasef Levi Hawkins, and I'm an ordained minister in the house of Yahweh. Last week, our focus was to show you proof after proof that the name of our Creator, shown in the earliest manuscripts of the Bible, is Yahweh. We quoted from several authoritative reference sources, such as Unger's Bible Dictionary, the Encyclopedia Judaica, the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, as well as the Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible. We even quoted from the Jehovah's Witnesses' own publication, which also acknowledges that the name Yahweh is the more correct way to spell and pronounce the name of our Heavenly Father. So my friends, there is no shortage of biblical scholars that will tell you that the name of our Heavenly Father is Yahweh. The question now is, how did we get to this point where all these biblical scholars, so-called biblical scholars, confirm and acknowledge that the name of our Creator and Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and that this name is clearly written in the earliest manuscripts? Yet, over 99% of the Bibles in this world, and most like the one that you have at your home today, has the words God and Lord instead of Yahweh written in it. How do we get to that point? So today we're going to trace back into history and show you how this fraud, this forgery, this lie, and this deception took place, so that you can see clearly, my friends, why the greatest name mentioned in the book called the Holy Bible is not in yours. As we proceed through this lesson, you will see clearly, however, that it was Satan, the god of this world, the enemy of Yahweh, who inspired the Hebrew scribes and the subsequent biblical translators to effectively remove his name from your Bible. First, let's see that Yahweh's name was freely pronounced before the Hebrew scribes got the smart idea to stop pronouncing his name. In the Jewish Encyclopedia, Volume 1, page 201, it states, in the early period of the Second Temple, the name was still in common use. Notice that. So what changed? What changed this practice of using Yahweh's name? For the answer, we're going to be going to the Century Bible. But let me just say this. What we're going to see here today, you can get this information from several reference sources, my friends. It's like reading about how Christopher Columbus discovered America from any history book. You see, you can learn this from almost any encyclopedia, any Bible dictionary, or any Bible lexicon that discusses this subject. You can even go to Wikipedia and get this information. There is no reason for you not to know these wonderful truths, even if your church is not teaching them to you. So, reading from the Century Bible, Volume 1, pages 90 to 91 by Adderley and Bennett, it tells us this. Sometime after the return from captivity, which was the Babylonian captivity in Babylon, okay, and before the beginning of the Christian era, okay, before the birth of the Messiah, the Yadaim, or the Jews, came to believe that the holy name Yahweh was too sacred to be uttered on ordinary occasions. See, this inspiration was coming from Satan. And keep that in mind. It was said to be pronounced by the high priest on the Day of Atonement. At other times, when one read or quoted aloud from what is called the Old Testament, the word Adonai, Lord, was usually substituted for Yahweh. Notice that. Yahweh was actually written right there on the page, and instead of saying Yahweh, they would say Adonai. The Century Bible goes on to show some important facts about how the scribes used vowel points as a cue to tell the reader not to say Yahweh, but to say either Adonai or Elohim. I want you to notice this. It says, Hebrew was originally written without vowels. Notice that. So, Yahweh would be written only with its 4 consonants, which is YHWH, Yod, He, Wah, He, okay? And no vowels. But the proper pronunciation of Yahweh was known like all the other words which were also written without vowels. You see? Continuing with the quote here, but when the vowel points were added, the vowels of Adonai and Elohim were written with Yahweh. Okay? That's what the vowel points did. They used the vowels in the words Adonai and Elohim and write them in between the Hebrew letters as a direction that those words were to be read instead of the word whose consonants were Yahweh. Thus, we find the combinations Yehovah and Yehoe. I have something here that explains this. Okay? So, therefore, when they put the vowel points for that represent the vowels in Elohim, the Hebrew reader would see Yahweh with the vowels for E, O, and I. So they wouldn't say Yehoe. They would just simply know to say Elohim and not to pronounce Yahweh. Similarly, when they see the vowel points among the Hebrew letters for Yahweh, the vowel points for Adonai, they use the E here between the H, between the Y and the H from Elohim. So when they see the vowel points around the Hebrew letters for Yahweh from Adonai, which is the O and the A, they would know not to say Yahweh, but to say Adonai. Okay? Now, this led to, of course, this was where this is how the word Jehovah came into being, because the Greek translators, they did not know that that's not the pronunciation, and that this was only for the reader to know to use Adonai, to say Adonai. So they interpreted this as how the name of the Creator was to be pronounced. And the first time it was printed with an I, but as the J was added to the English language, it was spelled Jehovah. So it's basically a completely made up word, Jehovah. Okay? We're not going to be focusing on Jehovah in this lesson. Our focus today is it won't be on Jehovah. All the biblical scholars know about this. Okay? I want to focus on how all this got started with the Hebrew scribes teaching the Israelites to say Elohim or Adonai instead of the correct name Yahweh. That's the issue. Okay? Because that's how it ended up where Yahweh is not in the Bible. that you have, or that most people have. My friends, I want to make this point here. Even if Adonai and Elohim were great names, okay? Do you realize how ridiculous substituting any word for Yahweh really is? You know, it's like calling a person whose name is brilliant, okay? And let's say the person is really brilliant, but calling that person dummy or an idiot, okay? Because there is no other word, no other name in all the universe that can come close to having the glory and the majesty of Yahweh. None. I don't care how great that word is. It just cannot compare to Yahweh. But it gets better than this. It gets better than this. Because when you understand who Adonai is and who Elohim is, okay, you'll see that this was not just ridiculous. This was worse than that. This was the greatest of insults, my friends, okay, to our Creator and Heavenly Father. Because, as you will see, Elohim and Adonai represent the names for Yahweh's arch enemy, Satan the devil. Okay? It represents the names of demons.